It started like any ordinary Thursday evening. I was sitting in the living room, scrolling through emails, when my wife's voice cut through the quiet. "Honey, I need to ask you something," she said, a little hesitant but masking it with a casual tone. I looked up. "What is it?" I asked, expecting maybe a small favor or a weekend plan. She hesitated, and I noticed the way her eyes flicked toward the bedroom door, as if measuring how much I'd judge her request. I was thinking," she began slowly, "maybe I could stay over at David's place tonight." David, her CEO at the company where she had worked for the past 6 years. A man I had met a handful of times at office events. Polite, charming, but always professional. "Stay over?" I repeated, my tone cautious. "Why would you need to stay over at his house?" "Well," she said, biting her lips slightly, "we're working late on a big project, and it just makes sense. I could help him sort out some files, prepare the presentation. Just stay over so we don't have to leave in the middle of the night. It's totally work-related." I felt my chest tighten. Something about the casualness in her voice set off alarm bells. "I don't think that's a good idea," I said carefully, trying to keep my tone neutral. "I mean, it's not appropriate for you to spend the night at your boss's house. I'm sure you can finish the work here or at the office. I can't be comfortable with this." Her face changed instantly. The hesitant, polite tone vanished, replaced by an incredulous glare. "Selfish," she said, her voice sharp. "You're being selfish. It's just a sleepover to get work done. I'm doing my job, and you're making it sound like I can't be trusted." I swallowed hard, trying to remain calm. "It's not about trust," I said, though my voice wavered slightly. "It's about boundaries. I'm asking you to respect our marriage. Spending the night alone with your male CEO crosses a line. That's all." She laughed, a short, bitter laugh that stung more than any insult could. "Boundaries? Come on. You're acting like I'm going to cheat. It's just professional. If you really loved me, you'd understand and support me." I felt my hands clench into fists. Support her, at what cost? My heart sank at the audacity, at the dismissiveness, at the blatant disregard for how I felt. I realized then that this wasn't just about a single night. It was about respect, about the repeated little tests she had been running on me over the years, the subtle ways she pushed limits and assumed I would always cave. "No," I said firmly, standing up. "I'm not supporting this. I can't. And I can't pretend that it's okay. You can stay at the office if you need to work late, but you will not spend the night at his house." Her face twisted with anger. "Fine," she said sharply, turning away. "If that's how you feel, you're selfish, controlling, paranoid, pick whatever word you want." I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I let her storm into the bedroom, slam the door, and slam down the invisible wall she had just built between us. I walked back to the living room, trying to calm the surge of betrayal and disbelief that was rising inside me. The next few days were tense. She avoided the topic entirely, scrolling through her phone, staying busy at work, but I could see the simmering resentment in her eyes. The trust between us, already fragile, had cracked, and I knew it might never be repaired. Then, a week later, the truth revealed itself in a way that left me both stunned and quietly vindicated. I discovered, entirely by chance, that she had not just stayed over at David's house for work. No, she had attended what could only be described as a private, intimate dinner alone with him in his apartment. Pictures and messages I came across, careless, thoughtless, but enough to tell the story, showed her laughing in ways that weren't just professional, leaning close, sharing food, sharing drinks, sharing moments that should have been ours. I felt a cold, sharp clarity settle over me. I had been right to say no. I had been right to stand my ground. And I realized, in that moment, that love alone is not enough when respect is absent. She had called me selfish, but the truth was clear. The selfish one was not me, but her, the one who disregarded boundaries, who mocked caution, and who betrayed the trust one had so freely given. I confronted her gently at first, giving her the chance to explain, to apologize, to be human. But her face, the same one that had laughed at my concern, betrayed her. There was no shame, no regret, only a fleeting flash of frustration, as if I had dared to expose her secret. "I told you no," I said quietly. "I asked you to respect us, and you chose to ignore it. You mocked me. You crossed the line." She opened her mouth, then closed it. No defense came. No denial. Just silence, and that silence spoke louder than any words could. It was then I realized what had to be done. I couldn't stay, couldn't forgive, couldn't pretend that this marriage still had the trust it needed to survive. That night, I I began to make decisions that would protect me, my dignity, and my heart. It was painful, yes, but it was also liberating. In the end, I walked away, not with rage, not with vengeance, but with quiet certainty. My wife had called me selfish for saying no to a sleepover at her male CEO's house. She had mocked my boundaries, and in doing so, she showed me the truth about who she was and what our marriage had become. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Because in standing firm, I had reclaimed something far more valuable than any apology or reconciliation could offer: my self-respect. And that, more than anything, was worth the pain of betrayal.